Alright, Kaiser Soze here, Maximum Carnage. It's been a few weeks since I made a video, but we've just completed our first perfect war. As you can see, 100% destruction was 20v20, and we were able to get all of the stars for a total of 60, and that hasn't happened for us before, so great job by everyone involved. Now, a couple caveats. This team that we had certainly wasn't the greatest in terms of the matchup for them. We outmatched them, but naturally any time that you do well and get the full clearances, that means that at least you have enough people attacking and attacking smart enough to be able to get all of the stars that are needed, and that's what we did, even though we had a few people that didn't show up at all for their attacks. We have some new people coming in out of the clan, but everybody was able to make up a lot of the difference. So of a loot run. So this was all, after all was said and done, Ronan took a run here on their number one, which is Megan. And so I'm just going to pause here. We could just take a quick look at this base. This is not the first attack, so we knew that there was double giant bombs there and double giant bombs there. So naturally the point of what you want to do right off the bat is use a kill squad if it's going to be a go-ho. If you're going to be attacking with hogs, you want a kill squad consisting of 1 or 2 golems plus some wizards and your heroes, along with one spell, either a jump or rage normally works best depending upon the base. And you need to be able to get to the enemy archer queen. So you want the kill squad to be able to take her out. At the same time, you want that kill squad to be able to take care of whatever's in the clan castle, because you certainly don't want your hogs to deal with it. So we know that there's a lava in here, and the great thing about lavas is you can realistically just ignore them. They're eventually going to pop, and then you can just look, keep a poison and deal with the pups when that happens. But naturally, if you can take care of it with the kill squad at the same time and deal with poisoning the pups after it pops, it ends up just shortening the time of the raid. So the first thing he does is send in 2 hogs just on the sides here, because he wants to light up at least one of the double giant bombs, knowing that it won't be an instant destruction. And now he's coming in right around that 3 o'clock, puts down a single lava, pulls a single golem, sorry, and then pulls over the lava to him, and then starts putting in some whiz to clear, a couple wall breakers to be able to get in, drops the clan castle where he's got a max golem, and then starts pushing in, and you can see that jump. I'm just going to pause it now. So I know that he had a plan. If the wall breakers failed, which they sometimes do, he could have put the jump just over the outside wall to make sure at least they're covering the space up to that air defense and whiz tower. But they did work, they did push in, so he was able to get a jump spell all the way to the core, which just helps everything going in. Again, the king, as soon as the queen hits anything, when the king is within that range, the king will stop doing what it's doing and go and target the queen. So the king is attacking the queen. He rages the king because it's under a lot of pressure jumping in front. It takes out the queen. You can see the pups are all going down. Single poison used to be able to take them out. And now the hogs have started to come in, and this ends up being a substantial problem for him because the air defense didn't go down, which is right underneath where this lava pup was. And as a result, the hogs did not run up and around the base as he thought the plan was. What happens is a substantial number of hogs not only split off from the air defense to go in the middle, but a few split from the defense that was taken out right here, and then they go into the middle as well. So that many hogs going into the middle was certainly a problem, and you can see the way the hogs are, because it's a lot's going on. It's really difficult to tell at a glance how many hogs are in there, but there was a substantial number that went, and certainly could have used a heal into that core. It wasn't, and so he's only got a few of these hogs that are trailing along the original path. And so he puts the heal where the original plan was, instead of properly going and covering part of the core. If that had happened, naturally many more hogs would have survived, and this attack would have turned out differently. You can see the queen now goes down because there is this lone single cannon down at the bottom. And now, although one of the double giant bombs was taken out, the other single is still there, and that final heal needed to be a little bit later, a little bit over, but by that point he already knew that he was in trouble with it. So it ends up being just a single star on the go-ho. The kill squad did take the queen. The kill squad did take the lavas. He did have the giant bombs, but it was just missing those heals as far as the better location for them to be, and making sure that he's getting the majority of the hogs. But that's the way war goes, and that's the way it is. Sometimes it's just difficult to see. So now we're going to watch Chaser on the same base, and you can see now he's using a quad quake go-ho. So he's got the golem there, but instead of using a jump spell, he's not taking a poison, and he is just taking 4 quakes to be able to open up the core to make sure that he's able to accomplish the task for the kill squad. So the same way, he knows that the double giant bombs are there. A hog on each side at least pops 1, so there's not instant death if the hogs are under heal. He then puts in the golems and now puts in some wall breakers to bust through the outer wall. And now in talking with him later, he had forgotten that he had the quad quake going in. So he already should have dropped it. Here's the quakes that are going in. And you can see naturally it would have been a little bit better pathing for things had he already done it. He uses the queen's ability to be able to take out the enemy queen. His king is stalled kind of on the southern end. The lava hound pops. And there's some troops that are able to take care of a couple of the pups, but naturally he doesn't have a poison for those pups. And it may have been better. So now he's dropping in hogs. He's got 2 groups. And 2 larger groups at least get through some spring traps. Surgical hogs, for those that don't know, which means basically just putting in a few on each defense. Those surgically putting in hogs is normally best for open bases where there's a lot of unknown double giant bomb spots. You could put in just, trickling in a couple of hogs here and there, targeting those specific defenses as needed. When you know the double giant bomb spots and things are compressed and tighter together, a pack of hogs ends up working a little bit better because they can last through spring traps without having to worry about what's going on. And at the same time, they're going to damage those defenses so fast and take them out really quickly to be able to roll through it. It's a lot easier to be able to follow the pathing as well of a group of 20 hogs compared to, what hogs may need attention if you're dropping them 3-4 at a time. But we're just going to 4X it now. All the defenses are down. He lost all of his whiz and the heroes. It's always good to be able to keep just a couple of whiz back for the end cleanup. Wherever your hogs end up, putting the wizards on the opposite side is always a good idea. They just get things cleaned up fast. But there is Chaser taking out their number 1. And you can see 66,000 is their number 1. The weight of their number 1 is 66,000. And that's certainly pretty low. So again, a horrible matchup for them. And they really couldn't do too much, or didn't have too much of a chance. All right, so the next one we're going to go and take a look at is Run's attack. I don't know how far down it is. It's right here on their 4. So Run has been trying the use of Valks with an air attack, and the Valks are part of the kill squad. So there's certainly a couple of issues potentially with being able to do that. He's basically substituting wizards, and in this case a golem for the Valkyries. So he's going what's referred to as cold-blooded. That's just a single golem instead of shattered. That would be 2 golems. You can also go stoned, which is 3 golems if you want a lot of tanking depending upon what the base needs. So he's put in a jump, and he's getting the Valks over onto the side, and they don't push into the core. He's poisoned the clan castle, but we could see now, if we just pause it, we'll see what the clan castle is attracted to this side. So what do we have here? We've got Valkyries on the ground, Golem plus the Barb King. Over on this side, we've got the Archer Queen that's going in the opposite direction. And I'm not sure where those wizards are at this point. They may all be dead. But certainly this is not a good thing. Although he's got the poison down, And this is the problem with the Valkyries if you don't have that other types of support. Valkyries are tanks. They're beasts. They have a huge amount of health. But now they're running in a pack where the clan castle is just crushing it. There's no wizards. There's no archer queen. So there's nothing that's going to be shooting at that drag. Nothing's going to be taking it out over any period of time. It's got free reign. There's nothing that's going to do any damage to it whatsoever. And although everything's raged, it's just a matter of time, naturally, before the drag takes it out. Now, he's got loons, naturally, which will not attack the drag, and the lava hound. And the lava hound does not attack flying units either. So now he's got basically the air portion of his attack, and it's a race between all of his air units and this dragon before the dragon goes and kills everything. So we're going to just 4x it here. So you can see the dragon just catching up to the balloons. He takes out the clan castle. The little pups pop, and the pups do attack air units, not the lava itself, but it's not enough. It doesn't take out the drag, and the drag comes over. So it ends up being a 2-star attack, and the reason that it fails is that the clan castle wasn't taken out. And the kill squad, again, the job of the kill squad has to be to take out the clan castle, and then it also has to be to take out that enemy archer queen. If you fail to do either of those things, you're normally in a substantial amount of trouble. When it comes to an air attack, loons are killed by archer queens, and they're killed quickly by archer queens. It's just a couple of shots and the balloons are dead. And because the loons don't target the archer queen specifically as a defense, she may have a long time to be able to just take down the balloons, and she doesn't need much time at all. And naturally, if you're going to bring those Valks and you're substituting out some whiz, the Valks run. It's hard to control the pathing of Valks, and naturally, anytime you get splits like that, the Valks just won't attack anything that's in the air. So a failure to take out the clan castle there is what killed that attack. And we're going to go now to Jiggy on the exact same base. So here he's using a quad quake as well. He's got 2 heals and a rage, plus the earthquakes and no poison. So let's just kind of see what happens here. So he's slowly dropping the quakes. Jiggy normally doesn't use quakes, so he's being methodical and slowly placing them. Naturally, you don't have to wait for them to do any damage. You can just drop them all. Now he places his golem. He's clearly coming in from the 9 o'clock side here. Because the wall is broken, he knows he's going to have free access. Now the wizards come down behind the golem, and we could see that the wizards may actually be a little bit late, although they were placed relatively quickly. The wizards are that entire golem goes down before any of the other troops come in. And now his king leaves and attacks the queen. He rages the king, takes her out, and now it's in the core battling the other king. And he starts putting in some hogs on the opposite side, misplaces a heal, and he's putting in a few groups on different sides of the base. So he's targeting those defenses with small groups of hogs. The single bomb goes off, which does damage to the entire group of hogs, but doesn't take them out in a single shot. If you have a wizard tower near those giant bombs, it could be just 1 or 2 shots from the wizard tower, and then the rest of the hogs go down. And you can see here that Tesla's doing a large amount of damage because those hogs barely have any health. So it only takes 1 or 2 shots, and the hogs are almost being instantly killed. The hogs, though, are lasting. He still has his archer queen up at full health with the ability. And now all of the defenses are dead, and it's just a matter of cleanup. So we could see that there's the single giant bomb there. This one wasn't set off. There's another single giant bomb that's over here that was not set off either. So even with the misplaced heal, because the tasks were completed, it still results in a 3-star. Naturally, this is a weak base. It's only 60,000. So it's certainly not got a lot of high-end defenses. And it's an easy enough base to walk through, but it was a good time to be able to try that tactic out. A few things being a little bit cleaner on that base potentially would help. And even the quad quake, because you're trying to look at the need for the quad quake, and normally you want to open up a huge amount of the base to really let your kill squad push. In this case it did, because his archer queen stayed alive and went all the way through. And then he also had access to the core. But both of those scenarios, you didn't need the quad quake to get to the archer queen, and he didn't need the quad quake to get to any double giant bomb locations. So depending upon what's going on, you can make that decision about whether or not you want to use the 4 earthquakes or not. In this particular case, it certainly wasn't necessary, and naturally he even wasted one of the heals with a misplacement, and he was still able to get the 3 stars, so that was good. All right, so the next one I'm going to show is Anti on 3. And this as well, in war, was Anti's first use of Goho. So again, we're just going to pause it for a second. We can see where that Archer Queen is. It's a super low level at level 1 Archer Queen. That's horrible for their number 3. But she wants to get the clan castle, and she wants to get the Archer Queen. So I'm going to pause one more time. The next thing that she puts down is wall breakers, and this is something that we see often. Almost always you want to get the whiz in behind the golems, because then you can deal with the wall breakers just afterwards. Either way, the problem with putting in the wall breakers consistently before whiz is it's just time on target. Those golems are taking a lot more damage, and then when you open up the wall breakers, you're just going to push the golems deeper to get further in front of things that may not tank for some of those defenses on the side, and may release some of those side defenses to start attacking your wizards naturally if you lose the golems to the middle. So almost always you want to be able to put in some wizards behind the golem right away to be able to help clear out some of the trash, get your troops through a little bit faster, and start tanking or giving some of the support for the golems and taking out those defenses that it's tanking for. So she's decided to go here with 3 heals and a rage. So now you can see that Archer Queen is engaged, and the troops engage her. She goes down. The rage spell is dropped just to make a deeper push, and naturally, I'm just going to pause, we could see there is this nice hole, right, like a V-shaped hole in that side of the base, and that really means that now she's going to have a better understanding and appreciation for how these hogs are going to path. She's putting the hogs, it looks like, in a single group. Normally it's best to do a 2-finger drop or put the hogs down in 2 separate groups just in case something is unknown within the base. Single bombs, double giant bombs, spring traps, all that stuff goes out. So that first heal is perfect. You can see there was a single bomb that was set off. She heals the hogs all the way through it though, right off the bat, so this way they're not dying fast, they get recharged. She overlaps with this second heal to keep them just fully alive all the way through. You can see a couple of defenses are missed over in this corner, and even on the 2-finger drop it would have been a good idea to be able to take care of those. She still has an additional heal left. She uses it on these last group of hogs. The final defense here is going down in this archer tower. That's not the final defense. Oh, the air defense is over here, sorry. So now the hogs path to it. You can see the little enemy skellies were chasing the hogs still. They won't turn on the skellies until all the defenses are down. But you can see she still has some golemites there. She still has her queen with a substantial number of health, a reasonable amount of hogs. One thing that would have been a good idea to leave is a few whiz at the back end. A few extra wizards would be okay. She's taken 2 witches, and whether or not those witches end up giving enough protection to account for the additional wizards that you could take naturally is dependent upon the base. Myself, generally, I don't like taking the space for some additional witches, especially if they're only level 1. because basically the kill squad, when it's done its job, it's done. It doesn't matter if those things die. You'd like stuff to be able to stay up and alive as much as possible, but I think she would have been a little bit better off taking a few more hogs, around 22 to 25, something like that, and a few less whiz and not those witches. But clearly, the main concepts were understood in terms of, let's get the kill squad to take out that enemy queen, to kill the clan castle, and at the same time, if there's any double giant bombs or any dangers that we can run that kill squad through to just keep those hogs in better shape, let's do that. And then when those things are done, hopefully you have a nice hole in the base. You start your hogs off understanding what direction those hogs are going to have to go, and then you just place heals leading those hogs from one heal to the next, and it does a good job. So hats off there to Diggy and to Auntie. Run has been on an incredible streak. I think it's been like 4 wars with consistent 3 stars every single attack. That was his first 2-star, trying out that Valkyrie attack. So we'll see how it goes. Base specific things like that, it's okay to be able to try. Especially in a war that we're dominating so much and we have that many people that we're able to cover. Valkyries, though, if they are faced with a situation where you have dragons in the clan castle, loons in the clan castle, even minions, naturally they can't attack those things. So if there's air troops in the clan castle, you've got to be a little bit more cautious for sure about using Valkyries as part of the kill squad, because their job is to take out that clan castle and Archer Queen. If you're using Valkyries and their role is to try to get in and kill off a couple of air defenses, you still need some supporting troops, or enough of them, like the Archer Queen, the Wizards, etc., that's going to be able to take care of that clan castle for sure, because naturally flying troops in the clan castle are going to wreck it. On the other hand, if it's like a Lava Hound or something, you can choose to be a little bit more comfortable with the use of those Valks on those type of bases, knowing that it's going to be less of an issue. But then you just want to make sure you've got poison or something else that's able to deal with the pups once that Lava Hound pops during the attack. All right. Well, that's going to be it for the war recap. Congratulations to everybody. That was a great job. We had to cover a lot of people's attacks that were missing, or people who didn't attack, and we were able to not only pull out the perfect war, but we were able to get the perfect war with only using 26 attacks. So 26 attacks to be able to get that 60 stars, that's pretty good. And then we had a lot of loot runs and fun things that we were able to try at the back end, so that went great. All right, Kaiser Soze, more to follow.